Good morning. Hello. Welcome to Kelly at Kelly's Heroic Life. And today I am welcoming you on this very amazing day. And it is amazing for all kinds of reasons. But one of the main reasons is that today is in about an hour is when the Sun and Neptune conjunction happens, and it's exact at the 0 degrees of Aries. And so it's a conjunction that definitely happens and is is something that happens in and has happened in history, but at this particular point, and it makes it that much more special to work with. And so today, just being here and sharing this time together and sharing this time of new beginnings, because Aries is the beginning of the astrological wheel, and it is a new beginning at 0 degrees. And so these two planets moving together, moving into the sign, and now being conjunct together with very different energies, but definitely energies that we can learn from and that we can embrace and make a great start, make a new beginning in whatever's coming in our lives in this next phase. And so if there's something, and it's great because Saturn is there to help us with the foundations and with the boundaries, but Neptune is there to say, look at your imagination, look what you can dream, look at what is possible. So I welcome you in today. And before we do our reading, I'll just clear our space a little bit and let go anything that doesn't need to be here. And then we can have a beautiful reading together today. And then I planned these readings, and these are readings that I created for myself to do over the last probably during 2024 and 2025. I went through a phase where I was just making my own readings. And so I thought for a while I shared them just on Instagram as just posts. But I thought it would be fun going back and looking at them and seeing how many different kinds there were to share them and do a community reading with everyone all together on Fridays. And so that's what I've been doing. And so I went through the list of the ones that I have, and I made like a list for the next 6 months, like January through June, and put those things on each Friday, the reading that I wanted to do. And so far the readings have just been so synchronous and just has just beautiful synchronicity. They've come up when I needed to hear a message. They've come up when I feel like the community needed a message. And today is another one. Today I think it came up, and falls in line with lots of things that are going on in the world, and lots of things that are happening, and lots of things that are happening for me personally. And so it's very interesting, and I'll show you the reading that we're going to do today. And this is called Say Yes To and Say No To. So this is one that I created, like I said, over probably a year and a half ago. And when I did it just as a 2-card reading. I said yes to one thing and no to another thing, and I read what it had to tell me that day. And since then, I realized that this is a very versatile reading that can be used in lots of different ways. And so one way that you can use it is like that, and have a tarot card and say, what I want to say yes to, what do I want to say no to? And those two things together, having those two tarot cards together, you can definitely get a lot of information from them, because tarot cards have a lot of messages in them. They're very deep, and they have a lot of context, and they have a lot of story. So you can get messages that way. You could also use this and have a yes and a no, and use oracle cards, which would be fascinating too, because a lot of times oracle cards have a message on them, or a keyword, or a phrase, or something, or just a picture, and just some art. So it would be interesting to see what you would say yes to, what you would say no to. And it would be interesting to also kind of combine the oracle card in the middle as your something that maybe you're trying to decide where you want to say yes to something and no to something in a particular area. Maybe it's at work, maybe it's with friends, maybe it's with family, maybe it's with a volunteer agency, maybe it's with a hobby that you want to pick up or put down, or something. So it could be, it could dress something specific, and you could have that oracle card as your theme in the middle, and then you could say yes, and pick a tarot card for the yes and the no, or two more oracle cards for the yes and the no. You could do the same thing with a tarot, and put a tarot card in the middle that represents the area that you want to look at, and then have the yes or the no. And you could also do that it all intuitively. Pick a card as the theme, or you could pick a rune, or anything that you wanted to do, and a crystal, something to give you a message or a theme, and then you could say the yes or say the no, or you could just use it for a yes or no. I want a yes or no answer. Yes to this, no to this. And you could say, this is my question. What do I need to know about the yes? What I need to know about no? And then that helps you get to a place of decision. Now, the reason that this I thought was so interesting is when I saw this on my schedule for today, I realized that I was going to just do a tarot as usual, but I saw this and I knew that I just put out the latest class in lessons from Lenormand. So that is on the channel now. And so if you've been doing the Lenormand classes, the next class is out, class 6, and it is out and in the classroom. And so, but it was very interesting because we studied the next 6 cards, and I introduced the decision spread, which comes from Raina George's book, The Essential Lenormand, where I'm kind of going along and going through her book and her deck and the Wicked Tales Lenormand, and going through really studying the cards, and then using the cards and doing a reading, and based on the readings that she has in the cards. So the one that we did this week, or in that class, is the decision spread. And so you have option A and option B, and then you pick 3 cards for each one, and see which one, and you get the guidance from the cards for that. And so when I saw this and having the yes and the no, I thought Lenormand would be perfect for this, because Lenormand is much more to the point. It's much more, it is, you'll see the cards in a minute, but it's much more symbolic. It's much more, and it has that built-in kind of positive, negative, or neutral meanings to the card. So it would really be good to get, a yes or a no, use that as a yes or a no. So that's what I did. And so I used the fairy tale. This is the fairy tale Lenormand by Arwen Lynch and Lisa Hunt. And it's really cute. And it's one of my favorite Lenormands. And so, I said, what do I need in this, thinking of this time, and this kind of new phase that's coming, this conjunction that's coming, this really opportune time to make some changes and to focus on something new. What should we focus on? What should we say yes to? And so the yes I have, and I put them in a line, and I'll have a picture of the cards afterwards so that you can see them as well, but I will show you what the cards are. So I got the moon on the top, plus sun, plus anchor. So it's moon and sun and anchor. So I really like this to say yes to, because we are starting a new cycle. This Saturn Neptune conjunction is definitely starting a new cycle. There's lots of things. Pluto moved into Aquarius, and so that is something that is very cyclical. And moving into Aries, this beginning, this new phase, and Aries being a cardinal sign, time of new beginnings and time of starting a new cycle. For many of us, it's moving into springtime, and so it's moving into a new cycle. So say yes to the cycle, say yes to the moon, say yes to opportunity, say yes to things coming up and making new beginnings and moving forward. And the sun is going to shine light on it. The sun is going to shine a light on this cycle that's coming, this time of new opportunities, this time of just beautiful synchronicities and places that you can discover what's deeper. You can discover what is waiting for you in this next cycle. And it's all going to be anchored. The anchor is on the bottom, and the anchor is stability. And so as we move through this cycle, and as we move through this new beginning, and we take action on making, shining light on what we want to do in this new cycle, then it's going to keep us anchored. It's going to keep us in a good place. It's going to keep us where we want to be. So say yes to that in this new place, of in astrology, and this new place in globally, and this new place personally. Say yes to it. And so then for no, what do we want to say no to? So here we have tree on the top, we have garden in the middle, and we have ship on the end. So the tree can be about growth. It can be about health. It can be about something taking root. And then we have the garden card, which is very similar because it's things growing. It's something, but it's more. The garden is more about festivities, and it's more about celebrations and parties and being around other people. And so then we have on the bottom, we have a ship. So this is our bottom card, and you notice that the ship is travel, is going and sailing away, going different places. So here there's a place for this place that we can look at how we're growing, and look at how we're growing maybe in our relationships, and how celebrating with other people, and having a place that we can celebrate and be with other people. Maybe that has been very hard for this last year or so, or in the last several years. So looking at that and saying, don't say no to those things. Don't say no to the things that are going to take you away from feeling healthy, from being connected, from those things that bring you joy, because the garden definitely can bring joy, and can bring in different ways. And we all have different ways that we connect to other people, and that we celebrate with ourselves, and that we celebrate with our families, and we celebrate with our friends, and that parties that we go to, and places, and going to concerts, or going to outdoor activities. And again, a lot of us are in the time of spring, where spring is coming, and we're going to be doing these things coming up. So look at those things, and and if it's something that's going to bring you joy, make sure that you accept it, that you say no say no to say no. And look at it and really look at and if it's going to if it's something that you really want to do, and it's something that's really calling to you, something maybe that you are thinking about doing for yourself, and thinking, and it's going to have that effect of making you feel healthy because you feel connected. And we're definitely in a time where um, that we are so connected in so many ways, but so many people feel very, very lonely and feel isolated, and and feel like they don't have groups or friends, or people to celebrate with, or people that they can be authentically with. And so this is a time to to let those things go, and to really take some steps, and see how you can make that connection. And it might be just as something as small as going to a movie, or going to the library and getting a really good book, something that you really wanted to read, or something like that. Or having a party for yourself, having a celebration where you celebrate something. You celebrate like the fact that it's Friday, or you celebrate the fact that something, and do something fun for yourself. Do something, take a walk, or go for a jog, do some meditation, do some yoga, do something that's going to make you feel that tree healthy energy, so that as we're moving the ship, as we're moving into this new cycle and with these new beginnings, that is really there. And so it's a really good, these are just beautiful cards, I think, for today, and especially for today. And as we move forward, and moving forward into, we just moved into Pisces season with the sun. And so that is, the last, last um, zodiacal sign, and before we move into spring. And so we're at the very end, we're at the end of winter. We're enjoying these last few weeks of the this introspective time, and the Pisces, which is intuition, and connection, and really listening to your intuition, and listening to the insight that comes from this time, and getting ready for this new growth, this new cycle, this new time that we're moving into. So that is the reading for today, and I hope that you have a wonderful day today. All the things that are special about today, celebrate it. Do a little bit of take that garden energy and take that sun energy, and really have a great day, and look at, and pause, and in about 30 minutes or so, take a little pause and think about the Saturn and Neptune coming together, and what it means for you, what it means for the world. And when together we can really go out and make beautiful magic together. All right, so that is the reading for today. And like I said, the next class in Lessons for Lenormand is out and in. There is now on YouTube a classroom tab. And so you can go to my channel, and you can find the classroom tab, and that has all the classes in it. And so if you're interested in Lenormand, you want to learn about it, or you've been following along and doing the classes the last few months, then the last one, not the last one, but the newest one is out. And so you can find that. And the next one hopefully will be out in the next few weeks, and I will get that to you. So again, have a great day, and I will see you again soon. Bye.